Keith, people who are not fortunate enough to have your sage wisdom and advice about what's coming next would look outside today and think, hey, this is going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, and I use days like this as an example of how complacent we've become in forecasting being pretty good, because you'd never buy that it was going to snow tomorrow, you know, and we're going to get there. But right now, enjoy the rest of today. It's beautiful out. 52 in Portland, 52 in Sanford. Our average high is in the upper 30s, I believe, this time of the year. So obviously anomalously warm. Even the mountains are pretty good in the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. Here's our storm system. Doesn't look like much, just north of Memphis, Tennessee right now. And honestly, it's not going to look like a lot right before it gets here either. It's just a warm front that's going to be riding up in the right direction, kind of the right timing with cold air in place. And that's enough to give us some fairly significant, not a big storm, but fairly significant snow tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. All right, so the rest of today looks good. Tonight looks quiet as well. That's when temperatures drop. Obviously, we're going to need to do that in order to usher in some snow, given how mild it is right now. We'll drop down to about 30, even some upper 20s all the way to the coastline. Teams in the mountains, no problems at all there. And then Saturday, clouds just continue to increase, and I think a lot of the state is dry during the daylight hours tomorrow. It's really right around sunset when the snow starts to move in. Now, the exception to that rule could be over southwestern and western Maine, Oxford and York County, maybe Cumberland County as well. The snow could move in around between 2 and 4 there, and the snow gets heavier through the early evening hours into the middle of the night. And you see a couple of really good bands that really set up here 7, 8, 9 o'clock. That's when we do a lot of the accumulating, especially over southern Maine. And that northern extent that we've been watching so closely, I still think it's about Bangor where this becomes not as big a deal. So north of there it is much less snow, and we'll show you of course a map in a second. But south of there, better chance of more accumulating snow. The jackpot probably is from Freiburg over to maybe Portland into the Freeport area. So that's where I think the heaviest bands of snow will set up. It snows into Sunday morning, and then we should be able to clear out, I'd say, kind of late morning on Sunday and be in better shape. But it will be chilly on Sunday afternoon. We're not going to do any melting at that time. So all of this time, temperatures are cold enough. So here we are Saturday around 6 o'clock, and temperatures in the 20s, upper 20s along the coastline. The only spot that might briefly mix over is going to be from Portsmouth to Kittery, maybe a bit farther north than that, but I don't think much. I think most of us are just straight snow with this storm. So this is pretty much the map you saw yesterday, 3 to 6 inches, and that line is now south of Bangor. I think that's the right place for it. I think Bangor is probably about 3 inches, 6 to 8 inches in the jackpot area that goes back into New Hampshire. And then some of our mountains may pick up that 6 to 8, but we're not going to go in and draw contours on each one of these higher terrain. It just doesn't really make sense. But because of the ratio, it's colder, they might be able to squeeze out 6 to 8 inches there as well. So that's our weekend, and it does clear out for Sunday afternoon, which looks pretty decent. Cold on Monday, so again, we're not doing any natural melting here. Maybe on Tuesday we're in the upper 30s along the coast, but again, I wouldn't wait for that. Watching a system Wednesday night right now. It's offshore, but it has hinted that it could start moving onshore, which would give us another chance of perhaps some snow there on Wednesday night. So, Pat, again, this is one where, you talk about plowable snow. I think it falls in that category for the vast majority of the state.
And of course, the question on a lot of people's minds, will it linger for our white Christmas?
I think yes. I mean, I don't see any temperatures there that are going to be enough to get rid of it. We'll probably erode a couple of inches, sure, but we should still have it officially.
But you'll get that visual that you need
exactly
for that morning. And,
yep,
and the dogs will be happy because they love to play in the snow.
And dogs and kids, they all love it, yeah.
Thanks, Keith.